Now we are going to look at selection and gradients so we can get a background on our drawing. So here we have the drawing. First we will take a look at the selection tool. Rectangular selection, get on the right layer and use that to delete. And you can delete. Now the ellipse, deleting parts of the paint that we already have done. And the polygon tool, which enables you to make angular selections, which allows you to create straight angles in irregular shapes. And finally the freehand tool, freehand selection tool. And this is the magic wand. We're going to come back to that later. And now use the paint area. So it looks like a stencil, but once I choose a tool, then it converts to looking like a selection. So you can use the paint area selection tool to create a selection in any shape that's a bit more organic. Alright, so now to get rid of these layers, not get rid of them, just hide these layers, because what I want to do is create a silhouette and then select that so I can use the gradients on the background. So right now I have the skin selected, so filling in those other areas. And now using the magic wand tool, which I used on the skin, to select the hair. But there's a problem, a couple of problems. One, we have those anti-alias white jaggies. So we know why that's happening, because they're the transparent pixels. So I don't want that. Can anybody raise their hand and tell me what the solution is? We covered that earlier. So in this case, I'm choosing border as the solution. So I've got some spillover. So who can tell me what I need to do to take care of that? Yes, Timmy, you're right. Gap tolerance. So now I've got the hair the way I want it to be. So now let's add the skin to the equation. So selected that with the magic wand tool. Now before we get to the background, just do some quick coloring so you can see that you can paint inside the selection just as you could with the stencils. And I'm getting better at using the felt pen. You've seen me develop the felt pen right before your very eyes, something I haven't used before. So you see the problem is that when I lose the selection on the skin to go to the hair, I'm not going to be able to select that skin anymore. So that's the advantage of the stencil. And now that I've done the hair, well, first I have too many layers. Let me merge all the hair onto one layer. Okay, so let me just throw some red in here. You can see that immediately starts blending together with both colors. And now let's go to the selection tool and the magic wand tool. So I can't select the hair as a whole unit anymore. I can only select the pieces in the color range that's been selected. Again, showing the advantage of using a stencil to do this. Okay, so now let me show you the feathering tool. And that's at 0. So now this is for 100%. So now that square almost becomes a circle, but it's feathered that much. So I'll bring the feathering down for my next square that I create, which will not look like a square because it has so much feathering in it. And feather the selection a little bit less. So now we have more of a rounded rectangle. So you can see by changing the amount, you round the corners, and the more you do it, it gets to the point where it almost looks like a circle. Okay, so now I'm going to use my stencils to create a silhouette. And I could have created the silhouette with the selection. I think you get the gist of it. Didn't want to start all over again since I digressed and started coloring inside. Lost my focus there for a moment. Okay, so now I have a silhouette. I made my selection. Now I invert the selection so that I can paint on the background. And now I can paint the background, run out of paint, so I have to lift to recharge because my loading is only at 60. So just like in real life, I'll run out of paint. So now I have a problem. And now you see that when I get rid of the selection, there are empty lines. So I don't have a true silhouette because these are where the black lines were. So what I have to do is go back and fill in these now open parts of my silhouette. So I'm going to touch this up with the ink pen. This is speed it up a little. Nothing really artistic going on here. So now we have a good silhouette, nice and solid and flat. Now it's my sketch layer showing through. Made that invisible. Okay, so now I have a nice silhouette that I can select. And then I'm going to invert that selection. And now I can use a gradient fill. And I'm going to use that on the background, linear. And I'm going to select reflect and fill that background with that. I'm not liking all the red, so I want to add another color here. And so that means open up the gradient editor, select the black, and that will open up color dialog box, color window. So I choose green. And now I've got a much more attractive background. Well, maybe attractive to me, maybe not attractive to you. But red and green do go together. They're festive colors. Okay, that's it for today, and that ends our step-by-step process. So please share, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Please support me on Patreon so I can give you more videos. And remember, just create. Bye.